Henry! Hello and welcome to Pokemon Weekly. I'm Henry Gilbert.
And I'm Hollander Cooper.
And again, we're going into the deep, mysterious world of Pokemon and the many theories that are out there about it. And this one is a very strange one indeed, but one of my favorites, which is that Pokemon language, they don't talk like us, we talk like them.
Yeah, this one is also one of my favorites. It essentially goes down to, and this is going to be nerdy, like English nerdy for a few seconds, but if you go back to Norse language, they had a word that was kindle, and that eventually, when English was being made by some old guys in a room with probably quill pens, that became things like kindling, which is, and kindle was a torch, and this is kindling was to light fires and things you light fires with, and then there's also candle that came from that word, and then there's also chandelier that came from that word. So the way words work is usually they're used and then they're adapted. So now we have to think, what's more reasonable? That a bunch of cavemen in the Pokemon universe were lighting a fire and talking about how, oh, this is, we're charring this meat. And then a Charmander walks up and he goes like, you know what? I char stuff too, Charmander.
Charmander, char.
Or did a bunch of cavemen watch a Charmander char something, hear it say, char, char, as Charmanders are known to do, and then be like, oh, that thing's charring that thing. That's a more reasonable look at how language works.
Yeah, if you have all these, as we're professional writers, so of course we're super into the English language, but yeah, it borrows all the stuff from it, and if you assume that Pokemon have existed at least as long as man has in the Pokemon world, hearing them talk all the time, hearing hundreds of different Pokemon say their names all the time, which really you could just think of just a grunt. Their grunt just sounds like that.
Yeah, and you get scared by something. That thing is ghastly. Oh, that, like there's a bunch, or even like, oh, what are we gonna call these weird looking things that fall out of the tree? Oh, they're pine cones, because that thing's Pineco and it looks just like them. It makes more sense than...
what's the sound that thing's making? It's wheezing.
Yeah, wheezing. It all works out much more, I mean, the counter argument we've heard people say to this is like, oh, well, they're still discovering Pokemon. They made, like, when you find a Pokédex entry for Pineco, you're technically like the first person to find it, because that's how the Pokédex works. But the world is a very large world, and people and language comes from other parts of the world. Like I said, the Norse word for kindle has become why we say chandelier in the States. It all spreads, even if you don't know where the root of the word came from. And that could totally be the same case for the crazy, confusing world of Pokemon.
Definitely, yeah. And that just shows you how little the regions really have a history together anyway. And they are borrowing words all the time.
Yeah, and though they have PCs, they apparently don't have good internet. So
yeah, they're working on it.
It's Japan. They don't have good internet either.
Anyway, so if you agree with that or disagree with that statement about Japan we just made, please put that in the comments down there, and be sure to subscribe and watch the other videos. We have a ton of great Pokemon and Smash Brothers stuff, and also with the comments we read our favorites, as we will do on this week's episode at the end. So until next time, Pokemon Weekly out! Alright, and these are our favorite comments on last week's episode about the strange similarities between Ditto and Mew. Man at War 55 wrote, Ditto is also not able to breed among their own species, only with others. Legendaries can't breed, so they're about 1/700th of the way there. Good point, though work on your spelling a little next time. Vero Vitrusi wrote, they didn't fail. They did exactly what they wanted to do with Mewtwo. So pointing out that Mewtwo isn't a failed clone, but really an improvement over Mew. And Gamma Fox TBG wrote, how are we sure any Pokemon isn't a Ditto? How are we sure that we're all not just part of something bigger? How are we sure of anything, man? So those are our favorite comments from last week. Be sure to share your comments on this week's episode, and we'll share our favorites then on the next week's one. Hey everybody, this is Pikachu. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Super Smash Bros. Wii U Weekly right there.
Kill me. If you want to see Titanfall Weekly, click here.
I'm sick. Pika, Pika.
And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to us down there.
that works.
All right.